Hi there, it's Don again from Carb Watchers. I'm the head coach there. Just wanted to give you an update on our Living Healthy initiative. Remind you of why we've started it. We all know about the chronic illness problem that we have in the United States. We have people that are dying by the millions. We have people that are suffering by the millions. And we can talk about it all we want. We can bury our heads in the sand, but we really and truly do know what the problem is. And it's that low-fat diet that we all are caught up in and we can't seem to get rid of. And, you know, I've been fighting the battle of the bulge for a long time. And as everybody knows, I've had diabetes and heart disease and found out what's caused it. And it's just simply that low-fat program that they keep shoving down our throat. We're fighting a battle. I mean, it's an uphill battle, but I think it's one that we can win. The FDA is starting, well, they're under a great deal of pressure to change what they're doing. And hopefully they'll do that. The Congress ordered them in late October of 2015 to hold an independent review because Congress wasn't happy with the low-fat diet. It just wasn't working. The obesity epidemic was ongoing, and diabetes, and costing lives and billions of dollars. Just a real mess. So they told them to hold an independent review. They put forth $1 million to fund the project. There was to have 18 months and get outside people in there to put different approaches together, and the bottom line is they didn't do that. And it's all documented. It's all we know what happened, and it takes so long with government to get anything done that we're going to take a different approach. What we're going to do is we're going to start a petition. And we're going to petition Congress to hold the FDA in contempt of Congress for not allowing independent reviews. We know that the low-fat diet needs to be replaced by the low-carb diet. We know that it works. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out that if you lower the carb intake and sugar intake for 70% of Americans, that your blood sugar goes down, your cholesterol goes down, your triglycerides go down, your blood pressure goes down, and you start getting healthy again. But the problem with the whole thing is, as we pointed out before, is doing what we suggest doesn't make anybody any money. It's all money driven, folks. That's what it's all about. We've got lobbyists pushing really hard, and back there they just keep the pharmaceutical companies. I was seeing on the news today was lobbying Congress really hard so that they could put any kind of price they want to on these prescription medications that they're trying to shove down their throat. They get recalled a few years down the line. My daughter's caught up in a couple of them right now, lawsuits. She's won one of them and she's going to win the other one. And the problem is that the damage that some of these pharmaceutical companies are doing to some of these folks, she's never going to recover from a couple of these. And what she got really was a paltry sum. Lawyers made a lot of money, but the poor victims don't make anything. But getting back to the point of changing the FDA dietary guidelines, we need to make as much noise as we can. That's going to be the key. And I'm starting to make some headway. It's a difficult project when you go into somebody and you're trying to drum up money and services and stuff, but we're starting to get some help. but it's going to take millions of dollars. My website will be done next week for this, and we'll have a place on there people can donate money to the cause. And I've got some companies that one company has donated a car. That's Murdoch Auto Group. The Murdoch Hyundai store in Murray, Utah has donated a car to drive, and I've got another company that does videos that would cost me anywhere from $500 to $1,000, and I've got several others that are on board and coming on board. But I wanted to talk about this. I go to a lot of different, besides my own meeting that I have on Thursday nights at Dave's Health and Nutrition in Salt Lake City. I have a class every Thursday at 6:30, and we teach a low-carb, high-fat diet approach to health. But I also take in the other side. I take in a class they hold once a month at the IHC hospital in Murray, Utah, and find out what they're doing. And it just makes you sick when you see the poor people that are captive. The FDA or the CDC estimates that there's 70% of the country's either overweight or obese, which means they're pre-diabetic, they're insulin resistant, and yet they insist on shoving this low-fat diet down our throat that just makes matters worse. I signed up for the Healthy Living magazine, and I got it today. And it said, I usually throw it away. It's from the American Diabetes Association, which just a terrible, terrible organization for diabetics, just terrible. They promote unhealthy living. I mean, if you didn't have diabetes, the Diabetes Association would be out of business. I dropped into their office one day to talk to the director. They were getting ready for a big show at the Southtown Exposition Center in Sandy, Utah, and I got run over by pharmaceutical reps running signs around and things like that. And that's what this is all about. Diabetes Association is just all about money. Anyway, they got the pros, the low-carb pros and cons. And you want to talk about one-sided. I get into the magazine, and I was going to throw it away, but I thought I'd point out a couple things to you. And if you're diabetic, you know that if you lower your carbs, your diabetes will go away. It doesn't take rocket science. But they say there's pros and cons. Well, all they talk about is the cons in this thing. And one gal said you must have a minimum of 120 carbohydrates a day, a minimum. In other words, just enough to keep you on your insulin. You know, that's all they want. That's all they're doing. It just blows me away. They talk about, you know, if you suddenly restrict your carbohydrate intake, cause lower blood glucose. The biggest con for me is the question of longevity. And then, you know, they got a point here. They got a point. They talk about how long will people follow the program. And, you know, when you're faced with it every day, as we are, everywhere you turn, there's carbohydrates staring you in the face, and some of those sugary little treats taste wonderful, but as we know, it spreads heart disease and cancer and just makes us very, very unhealthy. And so it's hard to keep them on there. But that's why the Living Healthy initiative, because for some of us, there's not going to be any hope. We're just not going to be able to turn back the clock and do the things we need to do, but we need to shut it off. We have to stop the fat factory, and changing these dietary guidelines should do that. You know, we'll get that stuff out of the schools. Can you imagine the poor people trapped in those nursing homes? being fed that high carb diet. It's just making a neuropathy and their Alzheimer's and dementia and their cancer and a heart attack and stroke and just making them sicker and sicker and sicker. And it's just evident we know what'll fix them. So anyway, I just want to give you an update. We're getting closer. We're getting closer and closer. And I will keep you informed of what's going on. And by the way, just if you get a chance, drop into my website, please. www.carbwatchersutah.com and sign up for my newsletter. Check it out. We've got some great information there. And if you've got any real questions about this, about some of these things, send me an email. We'll be glad to help you. I've got thousands of studies in my bookmarks here, that clinical trials and things that can prove that they reversed Alzheimer's, and I know you can reverse diabetes and things like that. So anyway, just a little update. Thanks very much, and we'll see you in a few days. Thank you.